The leader of
a
opposition is
procedural
talking.
matter, but not to impeach your guidance on the upper matter, because I was in Parliament when members of Parliament almost flexed on the floor over this matter, and it occasioned Parliament to put up a committee to investigate this matter. Right, Honourable Speaker, just like you have guided, the last time I checked, there was an entity called government in this country, unless it went in exile. The last time I checked, there was a committee and the speaker.
Love, there is still government in this country. I have known here as a very civilized love. There is still a government in this country. And we are...
Right, Honourable Speaker, I take a note, and it has taken your guidance to remind me that there's a government.
Yes, I'm telling you.
Because I was noticing an entity in deep sleep, and I was trying to awaken this government.
Let it be on record that there is government in this country.
Yes, which was I said the last time I checked, and I've been duly reminded that it's still in existence. Right, Honourable Speaker, with your indulgence, to order with timelines, the report on a part to come to the floor, that we can know how to help our people and to avoid these fights that people are fighting over borders. And we have a government and we have leaders, members of Parliament. That will Speaker, your order on timelines will save the situation, that we can really help our people. People are dying, and we owe a duty to the citizens to settle in tranquility, that they can go about their lives and their business. Right, Honourable Speaker.
Right, Honourable Speaker, I thank you for your ruling that the government should come back here and give a statement on the issue of APA. And I promise that we shall do so as soon as possible.
And now how long?
In a week's time.
What we need first is an action on the ground to save the people.
Yes.
And secondly, for your information, the report on APA is in this Parliament.
Okay.
What is left is a debate on a report on APA. Which debate we are going to ask the APA team not to start boxing themselves in the House. So we need action on the ground first.
Okay, right, Honourable.
Yes, Honourable Lutaya, then Iona, then we go to the next item.
Thank you so much, Right Honourable Speaker. My name is Lutaya Geoffrey, a member of Parliament representing Kakuto constituency. I rise to make my maiden speech, in which I equally raise a matter of national importance that affects a lot of people from our area. The matter I'm raising, Madam Speaker, is about a dangerous road known as Chapa Kasensero. Chapa Kasensero is a 41-kilometer road that connects the communities of Kasensero landing site to Chebe, Mayanja, to the main road, which is Mutukula Kampala Highway. It has been in very bad state for more than 30 years. Madam Speaker, on that road is an area known as Tome. Whenever it rains heavily, Tome submerges, making that road impassable. Quite impassable to the extent that whoever insists to use it has to use a boat. So you can imagine people using boats on the road. It has caused a lot of poverty amongst the communities of Minziro, Chiebe, and even Kasensero landing site, because most of the times, those people don't have access to markets to sell their agricultural products. Apart from the poverty, Madam Speaker, Chapa Kasensero Road has caused a lot of fatalities. Giving you an example, Madam Speaker, of a pregnant woman by the names of Nabu Masitefania, Nabuma was trying to access antenatal care from Kalisizo Hospital. Remember, it is 77 kilometers from Kasenso landing site to Kalisizo. Nabuma found the road impassable. She gave birth at the roadside, died instantly, and even the baby did not survive. Another case, Madam Speaker, is about the chairperson of Kayuga village, Madam Nampi Jamade. She was also trying to access antenatal care. Unlike Nabuma, Nampi managed to hire a boat, but she gave birth on that boat. Remember, the boy manning the boat doesn't have the expertise to help the struggling lady. So the baby of the chairperson did not survive. So my prayer, Eternal Speaker, is that I'm requesting for immediate intervention from the Ministry of Roads, good enough the mean size around, to give a Tamaka priority. This time, not Malam, a Tamaka priority to that 41-kilometer Chapaka Sensor Road. I beg to submit.
Once take note and check on the road and get back to the house. Kinkizi, Yona.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. My name is Msingu Ziona. I represent the people of Ntungamo municipality. Madam Speaker, the people of Ntungamo have sent me to add their voice in congratulating our athletes, men and women of Uganda, and they are in recognizance of the fact that we are waiting for the Prime Minister to bring a detailed report about athletics. However, Madam Speaker, the people of Uganda here, in 4 years back, we are all aware that the Ministry of Education gave Mr. Hamis Chigundu a leeway to develop Nachivubo Stadium. As we talk of athletics, we need to have a holistic approach to sports of Uganda. Mr. Hamis Chigundu, as we talk of today, he's on the 30% developed the Nachivubo Stadium. Whereas the outskirts of the stadium, he has managed to develop 100% shopping malls and arcades. This is so hurting to the people of Uganda, and they are saying, if Mr. Hamis Chigundu is not the only Ugandan, if he has failed, we have other Ugandans who can develop this stadium. We need the stadium as soon as possible. Madam Speaker, the people of Ntungamo, the people of Uganda are breeding, and we are watching. We want to know if there are more Ugandans than others. If he has failed, let his contract be terminated, because he was given a contract to develop the stadium for only 2 years. Madam Speaker, we need a detailed report from the ministry. Information. Thank you.
Right Honorable Speaker, I thank you, Honorable Yona, for giving way. Right Honorable Speaker, I think when it comes to opportunities for investment and opportunities for developing Uganda, it should be something that is fair, and there should be equity. If someone has been given an opportunity to develop, because this is a project that was given, and an assignment that was given to Mr. and Ms. Chigundu about 5 years ago, and to date, he has not concluded this work. Right Honorable Speaker, if there is an opportunity, let government come up and offer this part of this stadium to another investor who can develop, so that Ugandans also benefit and others also benefit from the same cause like he benefited at the beginning. Right Honorable Speaker, we were even promised by the Ministry of Education that they would buy land that would now cater the place where Nachivubo Stadium was. But up to now, that has not been done. And the people who are enjoying sports from there are still stranded up to now. Right, Honorable Speaker. So that's the information I wanted to add.
So can you close? What are your prayers?
Thank you. Madam Speaker, before my prayers, there was no bidding. This man sat with some members of the Ministry of Education. They agreed on a round table in Serena and shared the whole our stadium. Our stadium now is shopping arcades and malls and supermarkets and everything.
Were you part of the meeting in Serena?
Madam Speaker, information is there. I can lay it on table if you give me chance.
Can you lay it on table that there was a meeting in Serena, there was no bidding, the man was
At an
just
appropriate
given?
time, Madam Speaker, after recess, I will bring the information. And my prayers are, Madam Speaker, this parliament should take it up. We investigate. We are here thanking our athletes for bringing, for putting our Ugandan flag high. We cannot let our stadium go to waste. Madam Speaker, this is serious. If the ministry cannot give us a report, we need to investigate this, Madam Speaker. I submit.
Ministry, government, we need a response on this middle after recess.
Point of clarification.
Honorable King Kizi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I raise on a matter that one time I had brought it here concerning the wildlife and relationship with the people. Madam Speaker, on 1st of July 2019, the President of Uganda assented to the UA Act Amendment Bill, and it became an act, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, Article 83 of the same act, Madam Speaker, clarifies and defines who should be compensated and how they should be compensated. Madam Speaker, my people from Chinchiz West are privileged to be living together with the climbing lions, the elephants in Queen Elizabeth, and the gorillas in Queen Elizabeth in Burundi. Madam Speaker, Ugandans through legislation labored to provide a solution for the coexistence of wild animals and the people. And Madam Speaker, since 1st of July, when it became an act, up to date, this act has not been operationalized, such that the people of Uganda who are affected, Honorable Jim, we share the same national park, the people of Gambala are suffering, like mine. We need to know, do we have the minister in charge of tourism? If he's there, he was supposed to make regulations. 2 years after the president ascending to the law, which the government brought, it was not a private member's bill. Up to now, the minister has not drafted or made the regulations to operationalize this act, such that our people can benefit. Madam Speaker, the last year or early this year, the climbing lions were killed by the people, and they are now rotting in the prisons. But our people's gardens have been depleted, finished off by the elephants. But up to now, nothing is done. My prayers, Madam Speaker.
Information.
Can I have your prayers?
Okay, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker,
You're on a seat.
I pray that the minister should, Madam Speaker, I seek your indulgence that the Minister of Tourism should be compelled to come and explain all of this reluctance, what is the cause for all of this. And Madam Speaker, the Prime Minister should commit to this Parliament when these regulations shall be provided to serve Ugandans and serve the intent of the President that he brought this bill in force. Madam Speaker, the third, the Minister of Tourism and Wildlife should produce a circular on how those people and property affected before the regulations shall be handled. Because, Madam Speaker, as the law took effect, the people who got affected should be compensated before the regulations have been made. Madam Speaker, I pray.
Government Chief Whip, take note. You're who?
Honorable Chelanga Talinga Solomon, Tok County.
Solomon, yes.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I have an issue of clarification to the Minister of Works and to the Minister of Works. Right, Honorable Speaker, the road works from Kapchorwa to Buko is ongoing very well. But the only challenge that we have, Honorable Speaker, is that most of the people along the road have not been compensated. And yet the road works has reached their premises. They are supposed to be compensated in a sense that they relocate to some other places. But when they have not been given the money, then it means the relocation is difficult. So I wanted the Minister of the Works to clarify as to why it is taking so long to compensate these people from Buko.
Okay.
Thank you,
Honorable
Honorable
Minister, take Christine, then Sarah, and we go to the next item.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I am Christine Apolot, the Woman Member of Parliament for Kumi. Madam Speaker, first I want to thank you for giving us a recess period because it's going to give us an opportunity to interact with our electorate and also monitor government programs. In relation to what Honorable Lutaya said, Madam Speaker, like the Honorable Minister of Works has stated, the issue and challenges on roads across the country. Madam Speaker, some of the contractors that we give work to handle activities under UNRWA don't do the right work. There was previously a contractor that was given work along the road that begins from Kapir via Ngora to Mukongoro and connecting to Mbale. Just last week, I was in the constituency, and the work that has been done, Madam Speaker, is totally very bad. And therefore, as we go for recess, honorable members, it will not be only the Mioga, but let us take effort to monitor other programs. Madam Speaker, I want to say something about LEGS, the Local Economic Growth Support Project. Some of the districts in Uganda benefited, and Kumi is among those districts. Madam Speaker, it is now over 2 years when the focal point person from the Ministry of Local Government gave us assurance of the roads that were supposed to be worked on. And for the case of Kumi, there is a road beginning from Olua in Kakros sub-county connecting to Bukedia Market. Madam Speaker, since the time the Minister of Local Government made an advert, up to date, information has not been given on which contractor is going to handle the works, and the community is terribly demanding. My prayer, Madam Speaker, is that the Minister of Local Government gives an update about how the ministry is going to accomplish the task of having that road opened under the Local Economic Growth Support Project. I submit.
Minister of Local Government, we want a plan on the Bukedia Road. Yes.
Information.
Can I have Sarah?
Right Honorable Speaker, thank you very much for this opportunity. Right Honorable Speaker, I'm raising this matter because it's pertinent and important that members of Parliament, as we sit here, we sit in a healthy and clean environment. Madam Speaker, I raised this matter sometime early this year. You can see all over this place we have feathers. Some of us with big eyes are suffering because we have to keep removing these feathers from our eyes, Right Honorable Speaker. The last time I raised it, the clerk assured us that they had written, and the Speaker said that they had written to NEMA to come and relocate the birds from here. However, it is now over 4 months since I raised the matter. The birds are still here, and these feathers are all over the place. We are lucky that we are covering our nose. Otherwise, the nose would also be, these things would be
Honorable
entering.
Minister, a message has been received and taken. Honorable Solomon and the clerk, take it up.
Information,
Solomon, the
Madam
Commissioner. Can I
Information.
go to the next item? Please, members, we shall
Madam-
discuss the same thing all day.
Madam
Honorable
Speaker,
Dubai, please. You will speak on a State of Nation address.
I have an issue
Item number
about
3.
sports. I have
Item number 3,
I have
the
some
Igbo
issues
papers.
about sports.
Procedure matter. I have told members when you have a matter of
I have
national
something to say about
importance,
sports.
you come and record. What is your matter, Dubai?
Madam Speaker, I'm called James Olobo, Dubai, a member of parliament for Pioga. Madam Speaker, among the people who are in Tokyo for Olympic, I have my own called Lemong David. This young boy, the other time, went for Olympic and won a medal. He came back.
Honorable Dubai, we are going to discuss that together with the motion, which is coming up on Olympics.
Let me give this information. I've got to finish even. He came back and was promised by government that he will be given a house and a vehicle. Up to now, there is nothing. Secondly, I have the late Dennis Oboa, who had been the president of POFA for some time. When he died, Molinda went there as a POFA president and promised that he's going to build a stadium in memory of Oboa. The district went ahead and gave land. Up to now, I'm not seeing anything.
For your information, the Minister of Sports is called Oboa Dennis. So you can bet he is aware of it. Honorable Sewungu.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I'm raising a procedural matter. A while ago, Honorable Kaberuka raised an issue on the national basketball team funding by government. And right, Honorable Speaker, the chief whip of government came on the floor and stated that government had procured tickets for these teams. Fortunately, I have a number of friends under the administration of this basketball. The information I have is that government has not procured any ticket for basketball games. What government has done so far is giving them free offer for COVID-19 test at Mulago. And right now, Speaker, I have information here. This is the money this team has so far got from Well Wishers. They have got money from Dot Services, 20 million, Stanbic Bank, 15 million, Parliament, 10 million, State Tires, 10 million, Ham Enterprises, 10 million, Government of Uganda, free COVID test, Mulago, Mayul, Madivan, 6 million, KCF 4 million. Right now, Speaker, is it procedure okay for the chief whip to come before this August House and give misleading information that government has bought tickets for these players, for this national team, whereas it is the reverse? Whereas it is the reverse. We know you can give many answers, but we cannot accept misleading information. And I know you have been asking to expand such information. This, what I'm giving is indelible. And the chief whip is giving misleading information, which has even caused a number of members of parliament from West Nile to bring a lot of complaints here. I wouldn't mind about that. That's why if we in the opposition, we are quiet. The NRM supporters, you are crying about what's not been done, and you are the main supporters. So the procedure matter I'm raising, is it procedure okay to be given misleading information in front of the cameras that government has procured the tickets, whereas it is the reverse? Right now, Speaker. These people are crying, they are looking for money, and nothing has been done by government. Actually, when you go for a free COVID test at Mulago, it's almost something free that must be done by government. Thank you, right now, Speaker.
Yes.
Right, Honorable Speaker.
Government.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I think we shall need maybe to explain to some of our colleagues what government is. Football Federation is under National Council for Sports, which is government institution. Right Honorable Speaker, when I stood here, I said they have secured tickets. I think I was very, very, very clear. I have not said that they picked from so and so's pocket. When the National Council for Sports secures the tickets, whether money is from wherever, Right Honorable Speaker, whether money is from wherever.
Point of order, Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker,
Right Honorable, I don't know if you are going
Point
to
of
run
order.
parliament like this with our colleagues behaving this way.
Yes, can you continue?
Yeah, thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. So National Council for Education and Federation of Basketball, I have spoken to the President, Mr. Kashobia, and the Right Honorable Speaker, I moved out. I was making a call to the Minister for Education for tomorrow's statement. I request you allow me, tomorrow we are coming back here as you directed. Then a member can dispute whatever we presented. If you like.
Right Honorable Speaker.
But the information I gave, it's factual. Our players have the tickets, and tomorrow they'll be reviewed.
Order, Madam Speaker.
Yes,
Right Honorable Speaker, I think, and I pray to the government chief whip, since I'm aware that even it touched in the hands of the Pope, he must be ready to tell the truth. You were here, Right Honorable Speaker, you even asked the honorable member, the government chief whip minister, front bench, that we want these people to be given facilitation, not only tickets from government. That's what Madam Speaker, you stated. Now, here we are, the chief whip is changing. Right Honorable Speaker, we want to get the truth. Has government bought tickets? Has it supported the team? You see the front bench is only answering yes, yes. With the back bench, as we are saying.
So we'll get that statement tomorrow. We'll get the statement tomorrow from the minister.
Guidance, Madam Speaker.
Can I have the next item?
Madam Speaker, guidance. I'm seeking your
Next
guidance.
item.
Item number 3, laying of
Procedure, Madam
papers.
Speaker.
Item 3.1.
Madam Speaker, I'm seeking your guidance.
Next item.
Item 3.1, laying of papers, Minister of Finance.
Madam Honorable Speaker, I reject.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay on table Free Zones Enterprise Survey Report, financial year 2019-2020. Right Honorable Speaker,
Lay the report, I refer the report to the Committee of Finance, Planning and Economic Development for consideration and report back to the House.
Item 3.2.
Right Honorable Speaker, in the same vein, I beg to lay on table the annual report for the financial year 2019-2020.
I refer the same that report to the Minister of Finance, Planning, to the Committee of Finance, Planning and Economic Development for consideration and report back to the House.
Item 3.3, Parliamentary Commissioner.
Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, I beg to lay the biannual report for the Parliamentary Commission for the period that ended December 31st, 2020. I beg to lay.
I refer the paper to the Committee of Legal, and Parliamentary Affairs for consideration and report back to the House. Item 4.
Item number 4, response by the Leader of the Opposition to the address of the States of the Nation delivered by His Excellency the President on Friday, 4th June 2021.
Leader of Opposition, 20 minutes or less.
Much obliged, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, with your indulgence, I intend not to determine the business of the House, that I would like to make an honest request to you that immediately after recess, in whichever form and space Parliament, your office considers to direct the clerk to organize orientation to the members, considering how much time we have lost in a crisscrossing debate, we probably could have considered a lot more business, Right Honorable Speaker. But I can understand these colleagues are new to the House and they need their space to represent their people. Right Honorable Speaker, with the indulgence and direction, we could do better, Right Honorable. Thank you.
Clerk, after recess, I'm directing you to have orientation of all the members.
Thank you. Much obliged, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues and esteemed citizens of Uganda, Right Honorable.
Disaster has an information, minutes of disaster.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker and Leader of Opposition. The information I wanted to add on is the submission. It's like a colleague is not supposed to switch on the microphone before the speaker gives you room to speak. So every time the interruption is coming and we are looking left and right saying who is speaking. So we need, unless the speaker picks you up, that's when you are authorized to switch on the microphone. But everybody saying order, order, procedure, and there's a bit of confusion. Let us be orderly. Thank you.
They call it catching the speaker's eye.
Right
Sorry for
Honorable.
the interruption, please.
Yeah, Right Honorable, it's accepted interruption. You have had a free teacher and a free orient on that day. She could join a team of people that are going to assist the members without having to be labored to find who would help. But I brought that Right Honorable Speaker in good faith because I wish to see a better and constructive debate so that people can represent the issues of their people in a structured manner, Right Honorable. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, it's my singular pleasure to use this opportunity officially to congratulate each member of this 7th Parliament upon your election and appointment to different leadership positions in this land. While we are constituted from different shades of opinion, Right Honorable Speaker, it is our obligation, whether singularly or collectively, to diligently serve the interests of the citizens of Uganda. As I mentioned when the House was notified of my appointment, Right Honorable Speaker, effort will be taken wherever possible and feasible to pursue a bipartisan approach in the spirit of accountability and service. It is our conviction that Parliament is a front that we should use to liberate the country from autocratic government and biting poverty. Right Honorable Speaker, pursuant to Rule 53 of our Rules of Procedure, I seize the opportunity to respond to the State of the Nation address delivered by the President on the 4th of June, 2021. Right Honorable Speaker, while Article 101 of the Constitution does not prescribe the content of the State of the Nation address, it is generally expected that the President would use it as a performance report card of what has been undertaken by government since the last address. Unfortunately, this has never been the case. The Constitution provides that the national objectives and directive principles of state policy are the gist of government operations. They pertain political, human rights, socioeconomic, cultural, accountability, environment, foreign policy, and citizens' objectives, Right Honorable Speaker. Specifically, Objective 1, Roman 3, requires the president to report at least once a year the extent of realization of the policy objectives and the principles. The provision does not deter the state of the nation from being used as the reporting mechanism, Right Honorable Speaker. Otherwise, without the clear benchmarks, the state of the nation address tantamount to a mere speech. Going forward, Right Honorable Speaker, for the subsequent years, we would encourage the president to conform to a structured state of the nation as the Constitution does prescribe in the national objective and directive principles of state policy. Despite the address's fundamental structural shortfalls, Right Honorable Speaker, a few aspects highlighted by the president would be responded to, and I'm going to do it very briefly to the benefit of fellow countrymen and women, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, the president did take a lot of time to explain on the COVID pandemic. COVID-19 has become the cover-up for almost every government failure of late. The president and his government attribute the pandemic to the pandemic, the contraction of the economy, rising poverty, escalating public debt, poor service delivery, among others. Before the pandemic, these concerns were already manifest, Right Honorable Speaker. The lifeline of the economy and indeed government has for long been borrowing, unfortunately. The tax revenues are insufficient to fund government expenditures. As a result, public debt has risen from $2.9 billion in the financial year 2006-2007 to United States dollars 17.96. That is the equivalent of 65.8 trillion Ugandan shillings in December 2020. It has been projected that Uganda needs 94 years to clear the public debt without acquiring a new debt. Right Honorable Speaker, key sectors of the economy, irrespective of their potential, have for long been neglected by government. The president has referred to them as luxurious, some of them. For instance, it is exhibited in budget allocations towards sectors such as tourism and hospitality. And this sector for long has been a growth port to our economy, generating $1.6 billion, close to 6 trillion Uganda shillings per year. But the government invests hardly 100 billion Uganda shillings in this sector. So in other words, it's been left to grow organically. It's only natural, Right Honorable Speaker, that productivity in such sectors is going to dwindle. This has been the case in agriculture, education, health, information, innovations, technology, public service, and the trade sector. Almost every sector of government has been deprived except for security and physical infrastructure. Based on this, Right Honorable Speaker, it's not surprising that the government is gambling in its response to the pandemic. Let therefore not the pandemic be used as a distraction from government's poor planning and prioritization. Instead of addressing planning and prioritization shortfalls, the president has resorted to blame citizens. He attributes the worsening pandemic to citizens' failure to adhere to standard operating procedures. Right Honorable Speaker, who is responsible for controlling immigration? A citizen is responsible for taxation, the taxation regime in the country, regulation of trade, the recruitment of medical workers, purchase of beds, installation of intensive care units and oxygen plants, as well as vaccination across the country, among others? It is the duty of citizens or the government. It is clear that government has violated Article 189 of the Constitution by its dismal performance in the delivery of public services. Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, the President, in his address, made mention and promoted inequalities in this country. The President asserted that the people who are in the middle class are not prone to what he termed as home poverty pressure. They are the best suited for appointment to positions of authority. Based on his assertion, remember, Right Honourable Speaker, a president's word in some circles is law. Based on this assertion, people that have been raised from humble backgrounds are less appropriate for government service because they work for money but not passion. The President has deliberately entrenched the stratification of the citizenry according to the access to power into the rulers and the ruled, the rich and the paupers, the privileged and underprivileged, instead of engaging the entire country in a dialogue on how to address the prevailing socioeconomic inequalities. The President assured us that the solution only lies in his children. The rest of the citizens have been reduced to a status of followers, and their deliberate attempts to preserve their deplorable situation. The rich and those in positions of power are competitively compensated for their land by government, while attempts are made to compulsorily acquire land from the poor with meager compensation. Quality health care is largely guaranteed to the rich in private facilities or private wards in public facilities, while the health of the indigents is condemned to deplorable health facilities and the demotivated health workers. Right Honourable Speaker. It is increasingly impossible for several children from peasant households to access tertiary education that has seemingly become a preserve of the affluent. Irrespective of levels of competencies, it is common knowledge, Right Honourable Speaker, that many people have been granted jobs and appointments based on nepotism and sycophancy. The recourse to the rest of the citizenry is to continue to struggle to free ourselves from captivity or political and economic vultures. Only then can we blossom in a new Uganda in which every citizen is guaranteed a successful future. A new Uganda in which citizens are not discriminated against because of their economic status, belief system, cultural inclination, political affiliation, proximity to rulers, or any other factor. A country in which opportunities will be accessed and granted based on merit, leaders will be appointed, and jobs attained based on competency. Right Honourable Speaker, one critical factor that will make or break this country is unemployment. While the President was silent on youth unemployment in his address, it is rampant in the country. It is a serious threat that requires urgent and deliberate attention. The educated youth are increasingly getting frustrated due to lack of employment, Right Honourable Speaker. There has been remarkable mismatch between skills attained during education and available opportunities. For those that are lucky to find some form of paid employment, they are barely living. Wages are low to sustain their lives and aspirations. The alternative of self-employment is crowded by petty business whose proceeds are so insufficient to sustain and transform livelihoods. As a consequence, many remain unemployed for many years and in due course have their skills as well as knowledge eroded. This leads to a continuous cycle of unemployment. They cannot compete for opportunities that may appear in due course. Surprising, right, Honorable Speaker, government has frustrated the passing of the National Graduate Service Bill 2018 that sought to partly address the mismatch of skills amongst the graduates. Initiatives such as Youth Livelihood Program, Youth Enterprise Scheme, Skilling Uganda, Youth Venture Capital Fund have failed to bear satisfactory fruits, right, Honorable Speaker. They have failed to stimulate labor demand and uptake. Unfortunately, no comprehensive evaluation of these initiatives has been undertaken to inform effectively placements. As a consequence, the scarce public funds continue to be spent with no satisfactory impact. The funds need to be freed towards actualization of National Human Resource Development Plan that has been flagged off in the third National Development Plan, NDP3, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, government seems to have embraced externalization of labor as an escape route of dealing with youth whose aspirations it has failed to fulfill. Cases of sexual harassment, trafficking, non-payment, underpayment are reported but not adequately addressed. As a result, there are many distressed Ugandan workers abroad. This is largely attributed to inadequate monitoring, inspection of recruitment firms, and worker stations. Honorable Speaker, I want to put the House on notice that the left-hand side of the Speaker has a bill in the offing to address this gap that has been neglected. Corruption, Honorable Speaker. While one may agree with the observation that corruption is an enemy to development, the resolve by the President and his government to fight it is a mere rhetoric. The President indicated that he had established that corruption started from the Ministry of Finance through the development of bloated projects, the huge projects that are really bloated in terms of funding requirements. The bloated projects are the main drivers behind the continued disappearing of debt or loans, which the country is not ready to absorb. This has not been helped by the entrenched procurement entrepreneurship by some government officials. Consequently, the stock of public debt has risen, Honorable Speaker, like I observed, and it has increased in the last 10 years by 84%. Presently, each citizen, whether young or old, was unwittingly being allocated a debt burden of over 1.6 million. So why dangle such a burden on the lives of people who cannot afford medical care, quality education for their children, and feed their families? Millions of people have become secondary citizens in their motherland. Corruption, Honorable Speaker, is responsible for trimming their aspirations to survival instead of prosperity. Unfortunately, almost all the ministers, Honorable Speaker, responsible for the bloated projects the President talked about were never dropped in the newly formed cabinet. Instead, they were reappointed and some transferred to other dockets. These have joined others that were censored and convicted for corruption. Is this how the President wants to fight corruption, Honorable Speaker? Surely not. In our absurd case, corruption is rewarding, Honorable Speaker. Probably the President would like to share with the country if indeed his fight is not dispirited, or indeed he is not a captive of the corrupt. Honorable Speaker, the anti-corruption agencies have domineered public posturing instead of curbing corruption. We have had parades, press conferences, security convoys, to service the egos of the agencies. They never pursue the corrupt. Instead, they loyally follow their directions for seemingly vindictive investigation towards those that have fallen out of favor. It is high time that an audit is instituted into the presidential appointments and the creation of convenient parallel anti-corruption outfits. Subsequently, appointments to anti-corruption agencies should be subjected to open vetting. Right Honorable Speaker. Insecurity, Right Honorable Speaker, as my second last matter to address here. The President made lamentations about insecurity in the country, irrespective of the billions of shillings that have been committed through domestic and external debt to finance the security sector. Notwithstanding the massive classified expenditures, Right Honorable Speaker, we all know there has been a spike of mysterious and unresolved murders of Muslim clerics, women, police officers, and army officers, among others. Instead of lamenting, the President, as a commander-in-chief, should account for the funds so far spent on bolstering the security apparatus in the country. While addressing Parliament in 2018, Right Honorable Speaker, the President's proposed measures to contain insecurity in the country, and apart from some form of progress registered regarding CCTV and the forensic laboratory, the rest of the measures are yet to be implemented. And I am aware, Right Honorable Speaker, Parliament has supported the security sector with a lot of funding, including supplementaries over time. We are yet to realize what the President really lined up as solutions to our what seems like eternal insecurity. Right Honorable Speaker, let me talk about the criminalization of opposition. The State of the National Address, Right Honorable Speaker, was the first by the President immediately after the most violent and the most fraudulent election since independence. The election was conducted in a disgraceful and shameful manner, never seen before. All state agencies were pitted against the opposition. It became an indictable offense in the eyes of the state machinery to profess opposition. Many were arrested and held in illegal military detentions without charge, while others were held on politically motivated charges by all manner of operatives without a clear line of command. Security forces have tortured, maimed, killed citizens in an attempt of curtailing political dissent. This was done under the full knowledge and the tacit collusion of the official state security machinery, Right Honorable Speaker. This was the year of the notorious drones, Right Honorable Speaker. Did the President immediately forget about the notoriety of the drones bought by the taxpayer and used to visit suffering to the same people? That he made no mention of the killings, the disappearances, the maiming visited on citizens tells a lot about the official direction of the state. Right Honorable Speaker.
Try to summarize.
Right Honorable Speaker, as I summarize, security structures perpetuate the court martial, try citizens, civilian citizens in disregard of civil courts. And the government is encouraging the rule by law and not the rule under the law through trumped up charges. Right Honorable Speaker and the honorable colleagues, grossing over the grave injustices over the last 10 months should concern and cause worry to every peace-loving Ugandan, especially leaders at this level as Parliament. The growing levels of intolerance for divergent political views is not only bad for our fragile democracy, but a risk for disaster, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, we have so many families whose loved ones disappeared since last year. They were picked by security operatives in drones and all manner of means available to the state apparatus as part of settling political differences. So we have a mass state party after 35 years in power is full of political cowards presiding over the state. And we need to remind them of our political history for them to respect the choices of citizens. This is a great shame, Right Honorable Speaker. The State of the Nation address did not offer any assurance for justice to the affected families, Right Honorable Speaker, let alone a humble mention and admission of circumstances. I invited the European Parliament to summon its constitutional powers to rein into the runaway state that is acting through extra-legal means. Let the state account for all citizens that were picked up by security operatives and have since disappeared. That was, Speaker, to mention but a few, Chibarama John Bosco was picked from Kumukaga Gaza Road on 3rd June 2019, has not been seen or heard of since then. Kasumba George was arrested from Kasai Town Council, Chotera, on 19th January 2021. His whereabouts are not known. Mbabas Moses was picked by armed gunmen from Kiseka Market on 7th December 2020. All efforts by the family and friends have not yielded any result. Wangolo Shafiq of Cheba and Nansana was picked by security operatives, and his wife has been ransomed by them, but they have failed to produce him. Narumos of Vincent was picked from Gorobi Market on the 1st of December 2020. The family was advised by informers that they should settle and organize the restitution rights for him and move on with life. Taylor Juma was abducted from Obongi district on 12th of January 2021, whose whereabouts his family is desperate and confused up to now. Mwangi Henry from Ajumani was abducted from Ibikira sub-county, Ajumani East. Manjo Robinson from Moyo was picked by plainclothes gunmen on all about 16th January 2021. Damaria John was abducted by armed men from Kiseka Market. No, this I have, from Kiseka Market on 21st November 2020. A protracted trace by the family has been frustrating as the facilitation they have given security operatives. Mutasa Alex was picked by men in police and UPDF uniforms in November 2020 from Baise. Mubiru Hassan was abducted in December 2020 by armed gunmen. Jingo Fred of Boyogere was picked from Owino Market on 24th November 2020. Mwanje Sande of Nansana was picked from Owino Market on 24th November 2020. Kalunda Rashid of Bukasa was picked from Owino Market on 24th November 2020. Muhammad Kanata was picked from Walusubi Village, Namaojoro in Mukono District. Okelo Saison was abducted from Oromo County, Kitumu District by armed gunmen on 10th December 2020. Federal Speaker, I want to speak to these families. Federal Speaker, somebody rise from this floor. Somebody rise on this floor, the People's House or Parliament, and advise me how to speak to these families on the state of the nation. Are we preparing this country for retribution and revenge? Politics and political space should be occupied for a positive purpose. Our political space is laden with negativity and survival. It's dangerously occupied by self-seekers and regime hangers on who have become the single biggest danger to national security and political predictability, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I'll speak about the last two titles in 5 minutes. I know some people could have a chill down their spine. These are the realities, and that's why we are leaders of our people. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to briefly bullet on the role of government in economic recovery. We all know the current standing of our economy, given the current circumstances. But the master of the president to really define the economy in his style. Of course, we know that the economy can be real and vulnerable as he describes it. Money and the non-money economy. He asserts that only substantial private actors, more so investors, can transform people who are in the non-money economy into the money economy, subsistence into commercial citizens. This is an indication that their future is only secure in a private sector-led development. It is increasingly becoming evident that the government has relegated almost all its core obligations to the private sector. It is ceding ground in most critical sectors, such as finance, education, and health. During previous governments, Honorable Speaker, these sectors were prioritized by governments and made strides in developing infrastructure that delivered affordable services across the country. Honorable Speaker, it's an invitation from the opposition that government cannot see this duty of being the leader in these key economic sectors. Right, Honorable Speaker. Let me speak lastly, Right, Honorable Speaker, on government involvement in public-private partnership. Rarely does the president own up to botched dealings of government. For once, he did admit that there was a problem in the electricity sector, right, Honorable Speaker, or the power sector. On several occasions, the president has attributed high electricity costs to the poor contracts of Jagali and Umeme. These are just the icebergs of a systematic problem, right, Honorable Speaker. Poor negotiation teams. While the private actors engage the best negotiators that they can find at the best price, the state, on the other hand, engages inadequately paid negotiators. As a result, they have been exposed to compromised situations because at the end of the day, they pursue personal interests ahead of national interest. Instead of addressing the systematic deficiency of government, the president places the blame on the private sector or the private partners. No wonder incidences of poorly negotiated public-private partnerships, such as SGS, Rift Valley Railways, Intel Express Highway, among others, are regular. Unfortunately, the legal and administrative costs associated with correction and negotiation of these partnerships are extremely exorbitant. As a result, the country is bound to lose public resources to exploitative contracts. On the other hand, Right Honorable Speaker, when an efficient and effective partnership is realized, such as First Technologies that was producing driving permits, the government is very quick to take over, irrespective of its inadequate preparedness. While it may be too early to make a comprehensive judgment call, more preparedness was required by the successors, i.e., the Uganda Associated Printing Company. Such takeovers ought to be preceded and informed by audits undertaken by the Director General as required under Section 30 of the Public-Private Partnership Act 2015. Unfortunately, such audits are rarely undertaken. Actually, the citizens can now see the debacle of the successor company right now, because everywhere. Very last, Right Honorable Speaker, the legislative agenda. As earlier noted, due to lack of a structured State of the Nation address, this year's address did not enumerate government's legislative agenda. This was a clear indication that since this term was seized acrimoniously, government was yet to develop its agenda. Unlike the president and his government, the opposition in parliament, under the leadership of the shadow cabinet, will spearhead the following in the parliament, Right Honorable Speaker, as a highlight, not entirely. Under Justice and the Constitutional Affairs, we are going to pursue legislation to amend the Constitution. Of course, we're going to make a follow-up on the Constitutional Amendment Bill 2019. And we shall also going to pursue other amendments relating to the political representation in Parliament. In the public administration, we intend to initiate a government transition bill, initiate open vetting for presidential appointments, and the criteria for creating administrative bodies. We also intend to review the discretional presidential structures under local government. We intend to review decentralization policy. We all know that decentralization now is a huge debacle, and we want to headline this review, Right Honorable Speaker. Under security and internal affairs, we intend to initiate amendments to the Public Order Management Act. You well know, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, that the Constitutional Court hammered down a judgment that almost rendered this act irrelevant. So we intend to table a bill to actually actualize the decision of the Constitutional Court on this particular act. We also intend to, under labor, gender, and social development, like I indicated before, we intend to initiate amendments to the Employment Act, review the externalization of labor, in the initiatives under the Markets Amendment Bill, that is a government bill. Under finance, we intend to initiate an amendment to the Public Finance Management Act. We intend to introduce a bill on the liberalization of the retirement benefits sector. We also intend to table amendments on the status of investments. We shall review the Investment Act. Under health, we intend to headline the restructuring of funding for the health sector, and we shall engage government agencies to appreciate our initiative, having gone through COVID and how it has disfigured the composition of this sector and its funding. In education, we intend to headline reviews on the Education Act, instituting a regulatory body for teachers as a profession. We also intend to review the criteria of the distribution of government schools across the country. That Honorable Speaker, under accountability, we intend to headline linking accountability committee findings with the intended beneficiaries. Just like you said, Right Honorable Speaker, taking Parliament to the citizens, among other issues. We intend to visit the Leadership Code Act with a view of ensuring that it is a functional act, not a redundant act. Under information and communication technology, we intend to make initiatives to amend the Uganda Communications Act. We also intend to initiate amendments to the Data Protection and the Privacy Act, as well as the viewing of the minimum broadcasting standards. We intend, Right Honorable Speaker, to consider amendment to the National Biotechnology and to reconsider the consideration of the National Biotechnology and Biosafety Bill, which is lying somewhere in Parliament, Right Honorable Speaker. On water and the environment, we intend to review the criteria for awarding licenses to commercial tree farmers in the Central Forest Reserves, Right Honorable Speaker, among others. Right Honorable Speaker, I would like to thank you for indulgence and the patience of the members, and I beg to submit, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you so much, Locke. Next item.
Item number 5, motion that thanks of Parliament be recorded for the clear and precise exposition of government policy contained in the address of the State of the Nation by His Excellency the President to Parliament on Friday, 4th June 2021.
Honorable Nakut Faith.
Right Honorable Speaker, I am Nakut Faith Loru, the District Woman Representative for Napak. This being my first time to speak in this house, I request that you allow me a few minutes to talk about the people that sent me here. Then I proceed with the motion, if it is okay with you. Thank you. I represent a population of 200,000 people. About 160,000 of them are of Karamojang ethnicity, while 40,000 are of Teso ethnicity. There are many issues that they sent me to bring to this house.
Honorable Nakut,
Yes, please.
kindly you'll come and talk about our good people there.
Okay.
For now, you're there to
Because of time.
move
yes.
a motion.
All right, thank you.
Thank
But
you.
otherwise, I thank them for giving me the opportunity to be in this house. Let's go ahead with the motion. The motion for a resolution of Parliament to thank His Excellency, the President of Uganda, for the clear and precise exposition of government policy contained in the State of the Nation address to the Parliament of the Republic of Uganda on Friday, 4th June 2021. Moved under Rule 56 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament. Whereas Article 1011 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, 1995, requires the President at the beginning of each session to deliver to Parliament an address on the state of the nation. And whereas His Excellency the President, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, in compliance with the requirements of Article 1011 of the Constitution, delivered the State of the Nation address to this Parliament at Kololo Independence Grounds, Kampala, on Friday, 4th June 2021. Aware that in his address to the nation, the President highlighted the challenges that faced the nation in the last financial year, including the outbreak of the novel coronavirus pandemic, flooding in certain parts of the country, the rising levels of lakes in various parts of the country, the locust invasion, landslides in certain parts of the country, and the emergency posed by floating islands on Lake Victoria. Further aware that in his address, His Excellency the President informed the nation that it still faces challenges, including insecurity in some parts of the country, a wider spectrum of variants of the coronavirus that may be more dangerous than the original outbreak, and access to adequate doses of the corona vaccine due to challenges faced by manufacturers in India. Recognizing that His Excellency the President informed the nation that various measures had been initiated by government to eliminate or limit the impact of the challenges faced by the nation during the preceding financial year on the economy, the lives and livelihoods of Ugandans, which solutions have been credited for having saved the lives and livelihoods of Ugandans, and laid the basis for the modest gains witnessed in the economy, which has seen it grow by 3% in the financial year 2019-2020, and projected to manage an expansion of 3.3% for the financial year 2020-2021. Cognizant in his address, His Excellency the President informed the nation that additional measures will be initiated to totally eliminate the challenges faced by the nation, including procuring additional doses to roll out a nationwide vaccination against the novel coronavirus, supporting the domestic development of corona vaccine, strict enforcement of the standard operating procedures developed to curb the spread of the corona pandemic, expansion in the country's manufacturing capacity for sanitizers, encouraging commercial agriculture, industrialization, agro-processing, services, and ICT. Now, therefore, be it resolved by this Parliament as follows: that Parliament of Uganda expresses its gratitude to His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda for his clear and concise exposition of the state of our nation, Uganda, in the State of the Nation address to the Parliament of the Republic of Uganda on Friday, 4th June 2021. Number two, that Parliament commits itself to the promotion of the great ideas, values, and qualities cherished by His Excellency, the President of Uganda, in the State of the Nation address.
Thank you, Honorable Nakut. Is the motion seconded? Seconded by Honorable Samo, Honorable Namiango, Honorable Kasolo, Honorable Jim, Honorable Uda, Lily, Apea, Saropendi, Jane. Okay. Seconded by John, Musira, and many others. Nangolo, can you speak to your motion?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, this is a justification for a motion for a resolution of Parliament to thank His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, for the eloquent and precise exposition of government policy contained in the State of the Nation address to Parliament of the Republic of Uganda on Friday, 4th June 2021. Right Honorable Speaker, in fulfillment of the constitutional requirement under Article 1011 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, the President delivered the State of the Nation address ahead of the opening of the new parliamentary session. As a practice of a working and functional government, the State of the Nation address that was delivered by the President of Uganda, His Excellency General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni Tibuhaburwa, was not a wish list of all laws, but a marching order that is aimed at giving directions to all lawmakers and the country at large on what to prioritize in the financial year 2021-2022. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, during the State of the Nation address, the President urged our people to join the 4 sectors of the economy, namely commercial agriculture, industries, services, and ICT. With commercial agriculture, the President emphasized the parish development model. Since at the parish model, you are able to know all the homesteads. The model will see development activities planned for and executed in parishes as the lowest level unit for planning and development. This initiative aims to spring the nearly 39% of households from a subsistence economy to commercial production. The idea is that the people will decide what they need, in what place. It is a pro-people, grassroots-oriented planning and initiation of services which people need, as opposed to government using projects to think for the people. We thank the President and Parliament for allocating funds for the implementation of that model in the financial year 2021-2022. On industries, the President pledged to continue dealing with the issue of costs of manufacturing in Uganda. Right Honorable Speaker, the President noted 3 cost pushers. This includes the cost of money interest rates of commercial banks, the cost of transport to Mombasa, Dar es Salaam, Juba, Kigali, Ethiopia, and others, and the cost of electricity. Right Honorable Speaker, the government is indeed determined to reduce the cost of power, particularly for manufacturers, to 5 cents of US dollars, that's equivalent to 185 Uganda shillings per unit, from the present 8.5 cents US dollars, equivalent to 321 Uganda shillings. It used to be 10 cents US dollars, which is 370 Uganda shillings. The power of Kira and Nalubari is at 1.1 cents US dollars per unit. The power of Isimba is at 4.16 cents US dollars per unit. The one of Karuma, will be at 4.97 cents US dollars per unit. As we get rid of the dim power problems, as more industries come online, the cost of power will reduce substantially, and this will increase grid reliability to ensure that the power delivered to the consumers is within acceptable standards and in the desired amount. For instance, the implementation of the government's long-term solution of connecting West Nile sub-region to the national grid is ongoing, and the construction is expected to be completed by the end of 2022. This line will not only connect West Nile to the national grid, but will also provide power supply reliable to northern Uganda within accepted standards and in the desired amount. On the cost of transport to Mombasa, Dar es Salaam, Juba, Kigali, Congo, Ethiopia, and others, the President informed Parliament that government is handling the issue of transport costs with our fraternal states of the East African Community. For instance, the President indicated that by road, a 20-feet container costs $1,900 and a 40 feet costs $3,200 to Mombasa and vice versa. Yet by rail, it is US dollars 1,400 for a 20 feet and 1,900 for a 40 feet respectively. Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, most studies suggest that there was a direct causal relationship between the building of the Uganda Railway and the development of a commercial economy. And that the key to Uganda's material advancement was the arrival of the Uganda Railway at Kisumu, then called Port Florence, in January 1902. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, the ongoing rehabilitation of the meter gauge railway line from Gulu to Pakwach and the Busoga Loop, Jinja, Mbulambuti, and Busembatia. This, together with the development of the Bukasa Inland Port with the Jinja, Port Bell, and Bukasa as feeder ports, will facilitate connections across Lake Victoria to Kisumu, onward to Mombasa, and to Mwanza, onward to Dar es Salaam. This will increase access and reduce the travel time to Mombasa and Dar es Salaam, as well as increase volume of cargo to and from these two ports. This will also reduce the over-reliance on the northern corridor that links the East African economic centers to the world through Mombasa Port, as it's the major trade route, and also improve line stability, reduce transit times, reduce accidents, and deliver more cargo. It should be noted that the long-term goal of the NRM government is to build a modern standard gauge railway. This is being done with the Kenyan government. Rehabilitating the meter gauge railway is for immediate use. When completed, the cost of transport will be much lower than road transport. On the cost of borrowing, the President noted that government will continue funding the Uganda Development Bank so that it can give loans for manufacturing, agriculture, services like tourism, medical, and ICT at lower lending rates. This will indeed support import substitution, industrialization, and agro-industrialization, that's value addition, to our locally made produce. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, to ensure that development and economic opportunities are widely distributed across all geographical regions of Uganda, the President noted that a special development fund is to be created under the Uganda Development Corporation. This will deliberately encourage location of manufacturing and other economic opportunities in each sub-region of the country. For instance, Acholi, Ankole, Bukedi, Bunyoro, Busoga, Buganda, Bugisu, Sebei, Karamoja, Kigezi, Lango, Teso, Toro Rwenzori, and West Nile. These industries will be adding value to what is locally produced in each sub-region in the same way government invested in the Soroti fruit factory in Teso, Atiak sugar factory in Acholi, as well as tea in Kigezi and Toro. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, the President indicated that the services sector, that is to say tourism, hotels, banking, music, sports, professional services and others, we are moving very well until the coronavirus came in. Before the COVID-19 pandemic, we were earning to a tune of $1.5 billion from tourism alone. This has been affected greatly as a result of restricted movement, where even international flights had to be suspended at one time. Madam Speaker, the President noted that the country had faced other challenges like rising levels of the lakes, landslides, floating highlands, locusts, floods, among others. It is therefore important to note that the President indicated that Uganda did not only manage to cope with these challenges, but also the economy managed a modest expansion of 3% for the financial year 2019-2020, and has managed an expansion of a 3.3% for the financial year 2020-2021. Madam Speaker, the President further indicated that had it not been for the COVID-19, the economy was projected to grow by 6.3% and 6.2% in the financial year 2019-2020 and 2020-2021 respectively. Unlike other countries which have been faced with similar challenges, especially the coronavirus, the economy has not collapsed. This has been because of the firm economic policies that the NRM government has introduced. By controlling the coronavirus, our services will resurrect. We thank the President for the efforts exhibited so far in containing COVID-19. And of course, I ask fellow Ugandans to continue observing the standard operating procedures and guidelines as issued by the President and the Ministry of Health from time to time. I sympathize with families and colleagues who have lost their loved ones. May their souls rest in peace. The fight against COVID-19 is for all of us. For the ICT sector, the President has been urging our people in the ICT sector to take advantage of the business processing outsourcing in the world, such that our people through the internet can do jobs for companies in the USA, Canada, and others, such as call center services for utilities, hospitals, auditing accounts from here and be paid. I also implore government to continue using ICT for e-education, e-security, e-governance, e-health, and e-extension to deliver government services better. The recent shooting of General Katumba's car proved to us how ICT services are significant in managing not only national security, but also other sectors. The cameras that were put in place helped in tracing and apprehending the criminals that were involved. And I welcome the presidential directive of installing digital monitors on all vehicles, all bodabodas, and all boats on the lakes. This will make it easy to know where, which motorcycle, car, or boat was at the point of committing the crime. Right, Honorable Speaker. The President indicated that to achieve this, we must fight and defeat corruption. The NRM government has put in place the legal and institutional tools to fight corruption, like the IGG, the Anti-Corruption Court, Anti-Corruption Unit in State House, among others. These institutions need the support of all of us, and Parliament should take the lead in the fight against corruption, as it is the representation of the people. Right, Honorable Speaker, the fight against corruption is a duty of all Ugandans. And like JF Kennedy, the 35th President of the United States once said, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. This is a call for action to all of us. Lastly, I thank the President, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, for the impressive socio-economic transformation that has been achieved under the NRM since 1986, that has awakened Ugandans to meaningfully participate in wealth and job creation initiatives. More Ugandans are embracing the urgent need to integrate into the modern money economy. They are making a positive transition from poor and subsistence living to modernity. The country is on course of attaining a middle income status. Right, Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, the mantle of securing the future of Uganda is so great a task for one to bet on. It is not a gamble and can only be entrusted with President Museveni and the NRM. I beg to move.
Thank you, Honorable Nakut. Faith. The second, Honorable Zijan. 5 minutes.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. For the record, I am Zijan David Livingstone, representing the people of Butembe in Jinja District. And by the grace of God, I am the Dean of Independent Members of the 11th Parliament. I rise on this occasion in affirmation of the motion on the floor, a motion for resolution of Parliament to thank His Excellency, the President of Uganda, for the clear and precise exposition of government policy contained in the State of the Nation address to the Parliament of the Republic of Uganda on Friday, the 4th June 2021. Right Honorable Speaker, I will not delve much into issues of policy as contained in the State of the Nation address. My colleagues who have been here before me have done an excellent job, especially the mover of the motion. I would like to add a brief remark by saying that the problem of our nation has never been the want of great speeches. In all, it's my view that the challenge has always been the will to implement the contents of great speeches. Having attended and listened to the President as he gave the State of the Nation address, I observed the following, which are the basis of my affirmation of the motion on the floor. The President began by congratulating members of Parliament upon their election to the 11th Parliament. What I could decipher out of this was that he acknowledges the important role of this august House in matters of governing this nation, knowing that unless this arm of government is functional, democracy would only be in name, but devoid of form and substance. Number two, the President alluded to scripture by quoting Leviticus chapter 23, verse 5, which instituted the Passover feast of the children of Israel. He went on to acknowledge that he had been pointed to that by Pastor Robert Kayanja. What I could deduce out of this was that we have a president who is not governing alone as a totalitarian, but governing under God, consulting other key national leaders, such as religious leaders. Our motion remains immortal, Right Honorable Speaker. It says, "For God and my country." By the President consulting the priesthood of our nation, it implies that the President acknowledges that he can't govern effectively unless he relies on the supreme metaphysical upon whom is found all solutions. Number 3, even while the nation's economy has expanded from the $1.3 billion in 1986 to now $40 billion, the President did not gloat in such gains, but was quick to acknowledge the various challenges that lie ahead of us as we aim to transform Uganda to a middle-income country and ultimately a first-world country, which is our greatest aspiration. The President went ahead to offer several solutions, which in the interest of time, I will not go over. But by and large, in the President's articulation through the State of the Nation address, I could see a President this time who is resolute, astute, focused, and determined to turn Uganda into the envy not only of the region, but of the world. I would like to state, as I aim to conclude, Right Honorable Speaker, that great leadership must have the following. Great leadership must have in hindsight a perception of the past, insight, which is the acquaintance of circumstances as they be at the time, and great leaders must have foresight, a perception of what the future should be. The President exuded all that in the State of the Nation address. With these few but incredibly articulate and profound remarks that I have made, I second the motion as moved by the mover. I submit and thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for God and my country.
Thank you, Honorable Zijan David Livingstone, Honorable Nakut, and Leader of Opposition. Those are very good reports. I will open a debate for all of them. I will open a debate. Honorable Fiona Nyamtoro. Honorable Nyamtora. Christine. Sarah. Walanya. Members, everybody will speak. If we don't finish this debate, we'll push it even up to tomorrow. Up to 9, eh? Members, all of you should speak on the State of Nation address. Yes, 2 minutes.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. My name is Fiona Nyamtoro, the National Female Youth Representative. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, as clearly stated and justified by Honorable Nakut on the motion to thank the President for the eloquent and precise exposition of government policy contained in the State of Nation address, as the National Youth Representative of young people, allow me add on my voice of gratitude. Right Honorable Speaker, the President urged the youth to embrace the ICT sector, such that in so doing, there is enhancement of skills, exposure to more employment opportunities worldwide, and innovation through the purposive use of internet. Right Honorable Speaker, it is extremely important in generating diverging forces that the young people should focus on this advice. ICT is also essential in improving national productivity because it has the potential to make government and business enterprises more efficient, effective, and globally competitive. Ugandans are now spoiled of choice of which telecoms or internet providers and telephones themselves to choose from. Right Honorable Speaker, current statistics indicate that the internet penetration is standing at 37.9%, with over 23 million internet users, a majority of whom are young people. Right Honorable Speaker, the NRM government inherited a country where telephones were for the rich and services unreliable, yet they existed elsewhere in the world. It is for this reason that we thank the President for prioritizing and promoting ICT as a tool and enabler of socio-economic transformation and development of our country. On the side of industries, Right Honorable Speaker, the President pledged to continue dealing with the issue of the cost of production so as to promote local industrialization and promote foreign direct investment. Additionally, government through the Uganda Investment Authority has established over 20 industrial parks spread across the country. This is projected to create millions of jobs which will absorb the young people, spur industrial development, and growth for the benefit of us all. It is on this foundation that we envision more gainful employment, where economic growth statistics will directly translate to better youth livelihoods. Right Honorable Speaker, government in conjunction with the private sector has established a number of youth skilling centers. This is as a result of government providing an enabling environment for the private sector and young entrepreneurs. Under these skilling programs, the youth will embark on meaningful cottages and local industries across the region, the continent, and stretch out to global markets. This will definitely help curb the problem of unemployment to a very good extent. Right Honorable Speaker, it is important to note that unemployment is one of the greatest issues we are grappling with as a nation, not to mention that the COVID-19 pandemic has worsened it further. And therefore, it is only prudent that any efforts geared towards addressing this cause cannot go. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, I beg to second.
Thank you, Honorable Nakut, Christine, John, Sarah.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Christine Kayana Chumwero, the Chivoga District Woman Member of Parliament. I spoke already, but since we are still in the maiden period, allow me to take this as my maiden speech. Right Honorable Speaker, I recognized that the presidential speech first elaborated the challenges related to climate change and environment. The president kept on listing the challenges, the increasing water levels, the flooding, the landslides, the locusts, and then corona. But all those challenges are environment in nature. Right Honorable Speaker and the House, I take this opportunity to inform you that 80% of the disasters are caused by climate change currently. However, when the president was accomplishing a statement on this, he was saying that these are temporary. It really touched my heart. They are temporary but recurrent. They have been occurring every year. And if you went to ask the biggest, if you went to ask the farmers, the agricultural sector stakeholders, the biggest challenge of their poor performance is climate related. So when in the presidential State of the Nation address, we keep on reminding our people that we are targeting the shift from just producing for food, but and the market, and we have not resolved the issue of climate change and having a concrete action, deliberate actions to address these challenges that are temporary every year, but recurrent, appearing in each and every financial year. I just feel we are lying ourselves. Currently, there was a proposal to come up with a disaster risk management bill, which has not come out. It is not moving actually. And then the disaster preparedness department, which should actually become strong because we are seeing more disasters that should be guided by.
Honorable Awol.
Thank you.
Honorable Awol.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Since it is also my first time to contribute on this floor of Parliament, let me introduce myself as Awol Betio Chan, Member of Parliament, Gulu City. And Gulu City is in Acholi sub-region. Acholi sub-region is the poorest sub-region in the country. So, and I'm a teacher by profession. And as a teacher, I take strong concern about what? About education. And well, I'm also alone. So whether with mask or not. Education, and in this State of Nations address, I found out that education is so much lacking. Issues on education is really, really lacking. And yet, a country can be judged whether it's developing by the quality of its people. The quality of our people keeps going down because of education. And if we don't take this seriously, if we just look at the urban setting only, forgetting the rural setting, where our children are not getting enough, where we should sit down on a drawing board and see our best to try and implement and let education reach out to all our children in the country to say we love our people, then we are wasting time. It is already indicated here that by 2026, the population of the country will go up to about 48 million. What kind of population do we think we should have? We need a quality population. Well, when we look at corruption, corruption has also not been elaborated on properly. We know that it is corruption which is eating up the fabric of this country. Go to health centers. It is a problem. Let me quickly look at the social services, social economic. We talk about Emioga. This Emioga is not felt on the ground. We jumped from Emioga to Parish model. We are talking of Parish model. It's not properly also elaborated on in the what? In the State of Nations address. And yet the talk right now is Parish model, Parish model. We decided to do away with the health center 2 at parish level. That means that we were now targeting sub-county levels. But now We are going back to Parish. We are saying, Parish, you. I thank you very much and I congratulate all of you. God bless.
I was next.
Members, if the mic goes off, don't switch on. This mic is controlled from the center. Honorable Lanya Patrick
Right.
John.
Oh, you had given me after.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, His Excellency the President gave us his State of the Nation address. Right Honorable Speaker, it should be noted that this government has taken more than 35 years. And in the last 35 years, it's not a surprise that the president comes up and almost repeat the same thing every year. Right, Honorable Speaker, talking on corruption, the president has been lamenting on fight against corruption for so many years. I remember he stated one time, that he doesn't care whether one steals the money, so long as he invests within the country, he doesn't care. Right, Honorable Speaker, it's quite a surprise that this government is encouraging corruption. Look at the COVID-19 funds donated by the people. Look at the cars donated by our people. Where are they? Those monies were swindled, and the president comes and keeps on massaging those who steal our money. Right, Honorable Speaker, the level of corruption is terrible. And I think at the end, Right, Honorable Speaker, we need to adopt the report presented by the leader of the opposition. This current State of the Nation address is such a lamentation. Every time the president keeps on talking on the same thing. Right, Honorable Speaker, look at the level of democracy in this country. We ask ourselves, is there democracy in this country? Look at the last election. Last election, there were no campaigns completely for the presidential candidates. All the presidential candidates were not allowed to campaign. I give an example. When Honorable Bobby Wine went to Acholi sub-region, Honorable Patrick Amoriat and others, they were stopped, never to talk to anybody. On their arrivals in Amuro, in Gulu, they are welcomed by tear gas and bullets. Is there any democracy in this country? Right, Honorable Speaker, I think this current government, the NRM, the president in particular, he looks at himself as Alpha and Omega, which is very dangerous, Right, Honorable Speaker. For 35 years, he still keeps on lamenting on the same thing, I think, Right, Honorable Speaker, his State of the Nation address should be discarded, and next time we should not allow him to bother us giving the State of the Nation address. Let him rule the way he feels like.
Honorable Patrick John. Patrick John.
Honorable Speaker.
Right Honorable Speaker, I thank you so much. Right Honorable Speaker, we've had speeches. I fell in love with the speech by the leader of opposition. The response by the leader of opposition, I think it was on point about so many issues that affect this country. I call upon my members, our fellow members of parliament, especially NRM members of parliament, to read page 22 of the State of the Nation address, where the president invited you always to push in the direction of fighting corruption. Always push and stop shielding any corrupt efforts. And I thank him for that, for specifically say, let the NRM members of parliament help us in the fight against corruption.
And that is on page 22. Otherwise, when I read through, I've been rereading through the State of the Nation address. And that's why I thank our leader of opposition. The State of the Nation address at the time of COVID, at the height of the second phase, there was no clear plan by the president on how the people of Uganda are going to be vaccinated. He never mentioned a thing. It's as if we're in life normal, business as usual, after 1.5 years when COVID had attacked us. No clear plan, and that was the time to state that this is how we are going to handle COVID, this is how we are going to be vaccinating Ugandans. Right, Honorable Speaker. The president, despite the fact that we had finished a horrible election, when we had raised the matters here of people who are disappearing in this country, he would have been polite to this nation. He would have been kind to this nation. To come out and say the insecurity is going on, the kidnaps going on, kidnapping Ugandans is going to stop. Right, Honorable Speaker, as we speak, many more people are being kidnapped by state institutions. Yesterday, even those people, Ugandans living abroad, the state institutions are going abroad to catch up with them. Whoever has dissenting opinion against the president. Right, Honorable Speaker, the matter of criminalizing opposition in this country. Yet the people who created our constitution knew that there would be dissenting opinions. Right, Honorable Speaker, this House must defend the Constitution of Uganda. Right, Honorable Speaker, 1 minute. Honorable Speaker, 1 minute.
Let's have respect. We have said. John.
Right, Honorable Speaker, thank you for the second chance today. I raise to support this motion on the state of the nation by the president the other month. I wish to say and also thank the leader of opposition for his very eloquent speech, although very emotional and sentimental. But equally, must raise to thank the president of Uganda as one of the patriots of this country. Madam Speaker, I am aware that problems are with us to solve, and we solve them as they come. The president would not have mentioned every other problem on that day. Otherwise, we would have taken several days listening to his speech. But as a patriot, as an orator, I come up to say the president has matured from a zealot up to a statesman of this country. About other issues, for example, yes, I'm aware, if we didn't mention a few other things, for example, in Bugisu, he didn't mention about the cracked wall of Bugisu, which is a looming disaster for landslides. But we can attend to that later. Lastly, Madam Speaker, the East African affairs is what most interested me in the presidential speech. As a landlocked country, we need the neighbors, especially on the east of this nation. I want to tell you, we have had problems in 2007, 2008. We were provoked by the chaos in Kenya, and you saw that most of our commodities were stuck, the rail was cut, and everything. I am on the border with Kenya. The other issue was the provocation by the Kenyans at one time over the Migingo, but the president remained calm, and he remains calm over the East African affairs. And we, as members of parliament, we must congratulate him and encourage him. He speaks these days like Emperor Haile Selassie spoke, the Rastaman, like Kwame Nkrumah, and many other orators who have been on this African continent. Madam Speaker, I want to rest my case by supporting this motion again. Thank you so much.
Next.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Opio Samuel is my name from Kole North constituency.
Press it.
I stand to support this motion. The President, in his State of the Nation address, strongly articulated the need to support scientists through research and development. COVID-19 has taught us not to wait for global solutions for the global challenges, because the global solutions may not be locally available. And therefore, we need to develop local solutions to these global challenges. One of the local solutions has been development of our own vaccines and also our own therapeutic agents and medicines. And we've seen in this second wave of COVID-19, one product known as COVIDX being developed by our very own Professor Ingeo. These are the local solutions that the President is strongly advocating for. Right Honorable Speaker, I need to emphasize that Uganda as a country has a huge amount of vegetation and forest cover. These forests do not just store rain, they store medicines. But to remove these medicines from the farm to the pharmacy, a lot of investments have to be made in clinical trials, in research, which many cannot afford. But the President has ably shown that we need to support this. I therefore want to support this motion, but I want to emphasize, Right Honorable Speaker, today we've recognized the sportsmen, even before they entered the plane and landed on the tracks. I would wish this House also recognizes the scientists that have put themselves on the front line, even when they're still in the lab, to develop medicines locally for this country in the fight against Corona. I beg to submit and I support this motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pio. Next. Why don't you relax and sit? I will reach you. It's all the time. Can the next person speak?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. And this being my maiden speech in the 11th Parliament, I congratulate you upon assuming that office. And I congratulate honorable colleagues for making it to the 11th Parliament. Madam Speaker, I raise to support the motion.
There's an order here.
Expressing
Madam Speaker, order. Madam Speaker, our rules are very clear about the quorum and the way we must speak. And you have kept reminding members that when a member is speaking, others should be seated. I see members still standing. It defeats the quorum of this House, Madam Speaker. Can you assert the rules such that members obey the rules of this House and give respect?
I have told members to sit. I don't know whether I should leave here to go and make somebody sit. Please sit, you will speak.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I raise to support the motion expressing gratitude to the President for the well-delivered State of the Nation address to this August House. Madam Speaker, from the State of the Nation that the President delivered to this House, it is very clear that our internal capacity as a country to deal with challenges that we face as a country has been improved and strengthened. It was very clear, the President indicated how we have, as government, has been able to deal with the challenges of floods, locusts, rising sea, rising levels of our lakes, the floating islands that nearly blocked the dams, and all that have been attended to. We want to thank the President for his wise and strategic leadership. Secondly, Madam Speaker, I want to appreciate the President for his deliberate effort to promote and support Ugandan scientists, especially in the area of health. Madam Speaker, we have seen a number of, from the statement, from the address by the President, it was clear that as a country, Our scientists have made good strides in therapeutics, in diagnostics and vaccine. Although, Madam Speaker, we have not done it all, but it's a good step in the right direction. So we want to thank the President for this kind of support to our scientists.
Honorable Maloney.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. It's my maiden speech. I'm Engineer Maloney Irene, woman MP for Bulambuli District. I want to join colleagues in congratulating you, Right Honorable Speaker, and all colleagues here for your successful election to the 11th Parliament and the subsequent appointments to the various positions. I want to add my voice
have all what has been cut, in as far as our budget is concerned, pushed towards acquisition of as much as possible vaccines, and if need be, let's decentralize the immunization up to health center tools, because that's the most important thing, that if most people are immunized, then we are likely to solve this problem of corona. About the economy, he talked of the economy not doing well, and maybe it's likely to move at 3%, growth of 3% per annum. I'm sure if the issue of parish model is emphasized, we are likely to revive our economy. So I'd like to appeal to honorable members that as we go to our rural areas and constituents, let's ensure that we sensitize them about the model farming, because model farming is going to solve deforestation, is going to solve this, the spoil of the environment, especially for us who come from swampy areas, that whoever has been depleting the swamp with the rice growing, we are likely to end up with the fish ponds, and I think that's going to be in the rightful direction. Madam Speaker, about manufacturing, the President said that we are likely to emphasize manufacturing. And the emphasis here is that corona is maybe here to stay, and I'm told that sugarcane can be used in the manufacture of vaccines. So why don't we take a lot of precaution and take a lot of emphasis, especially to the sugarcane growing areas like Usoga and other parts, that these factories should be emphasized and ensure that more affirmative action is given to them to ensure that we have to fight corona by having our locally produced sanitizers, Madam Speaker. The other one was about railway construction to ease the transportation and maybe to make it cheaper. However, the emphasis is that we have had a slow growth of the sea.
Honorable Kasaija.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My name is Kasaija Stephen Kagwera, representing the people of Russia in Kabarole district. For the old members know me, the new ones, those are the names. Madam Speaker, I raise to add my voice in thanking the President for clear State of Nations address, and perhaps ask colleagues that on such occasion, we need actually to forget about our political parties, because this is a matter that concerns the population. For whether President Museveni has worked or not, it is clear that he has worked. There is positivity in this country. But we need, again, not to be blind about things that have not gone well. For instance, the issue of inequality. It is true, Madam Speaker, that in this country, the gap between the rich and the poor is widening each day. Privatization is good, but has done a lot of harm to this country. For instance, the leader of opposition talked about banks. It is true, the banks in this country are operating as if there is no government. They do whatever they think and whatever pleases them. I think we need to sit and plan as a country, see how we can control them. I know Bank of Uganda has a duty, but I may quickly say that there is a problem there. The control is here lacking. Priority in investment. Madam Speaker, you put the money where you get profits faster and perhaps for a long time. That is where you have comparative advantage. Uganda has comparative advantage in tourism and agriculture, but the money we have put there is very dismal. I encourage this parliament in the next financial year to help ourselves by putting more money in these two sectors. These two sectors can propel other sectors of the economy. Madam Speaker, as I wind up about corruption, someone says or said, all of us are concerned and we need to treat it. That is true. But look at the definition of corruption. mainly the people in authority. What do you want the local person to do about it? It is us here, Parliament, it is the cabinet, it is us who have the knowledge to stand and say no to corruption. And I encourage colleagues, because I've been here before, that we should not be part.
Honorable Tusime Julius. Tusime Julius.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. This is my maiden speech. And for the record, I'm Julius Tusime Karanga. I represent the people of Rampara East constituency. Right Honorable Speaker, I rise to speak for the motion. During the State of the Nation address, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni clearly manifested that he is indeed a beacon of hope, that he indeed is a revolutionary leader and an agent and champion of behavior change. I will not speak on many issues, but in relation to COVID, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, in 1990, when Uganda and early 90s thereabout, when Uganda was facing a high prevalence of HIV, the president and the ministries and agencies related to that came out strongly with behavior change messages. Indeed, we realized a significant decline in the prevalence. Throughout the COVID situation, His Excellency maintained clear messages that echoed a message of prevention and behavior change to the local communities. I must thank all the citizens of Uganda for adhering to the message of the president. Indeed, he's a champion of behavior change. As I talk now, the positivity rate has reduced significantly from 22% to 8%. Who knows, as we continue to echo out the message, it will reduce significantly. Throughout the State of the Nation, he echoed a message of hope that Ugandans, even within the pandemic, we ought to look at what he termed the pathogen economy, that we look at opportunities of enhancing our incomes even within this pandemic. As such, we have seen efforts where our doctors are doing research, where our doctors have produced and professors have went ahead to produce some of the treatment, supportive treatment therapies. For example, our very own from Barara region, Dr. Professor Ogwang, who produced Covidex. I want to thank His Excellency for having come out steadfastly and protected him. This really encourages innovation. It encourages innovation and all the other people out there to seize the opportunity of contributing to the pathogen economy. I want to stop there and end, but thank you so much for giving me the opportunity once again. Julius Tusime, Rampara East.
Sir Opendi. Sir Opendi, Pachuto, Mwijuche, Naluima.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the President for the work that he has done for this country since 1986, when he assumed the leadership. However, Right Honorable Speaker, there are still issues that have not been properly handled. One of which, while I appreciate the President for putting an innovation fund to support research, you realize, Right Honorable Speaker, that Uganda as a country has not fulfilled or met the conditions that was set by the African Union. That is to put at least 1% of its GDP to research and development. The President has promised to continuously increase the salaries of the scientists and doctors in this country. It is not enough to merely pay them the salaries without providing funds for the research. And therefore, I want to urge the executive to ensure that we provide the necessary funding so that our scientists can be relevant, not only in Uganda, but also globally. Right Honorable Speaker, my second issue is on the issue of corruption that has been mentioned and talked about. While the NRM government came into power, and among its 10-point program was the fight against corruption, a lot has been done in terms of legislation and policies, but Right Honorable Speaker, there hasn't been adequate political will to fight corruption. For 35 years, we can't be talking and singing about fighting corruption, and corruption is increasing day in, day night. It is now actually a service tax to the wananchi, to the local people. For any service in this country, you must pay a bribe. And according to the UBOS report, the 2013 National Baseline Survey, close to $66 million, Right Honorable Speaker, is lost to bribes in this country. The country loses close to $300 million. And that is as per 2016, that is the report that I looked at. $300 million is corruption. So right now, as we speak, we must be in over 3 trillion shillings in corruption alone. And of course, that affects services, Right Honorable Speaker. I just want to state that the fight against corruption seems to have been lost in this country, Right Honorable Speaker. Those who fight corruption sometimes are not given the support. Right Honorable Speaker, just 1 minute. Let me leave that. I end with one statement, Right Honorable Speaker, regarding the Descendants Resistance Army. The President mentioned that he has been talking to his children that these DRAs should take forward the work of the original National Resistance Army. We are here, Right Honorable Speaker, to take over the work. I am not a child of the NRA, but I believe that I can make good contribution in taking forward the leadership of this country. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Pachuto.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. I want to thank the mover of this motion. Right Honorable Speaker, allow me also to thank His Excellency the President for a well-stipulated and visionary State of the Nation address delivered to this country on the 4th of June. Right Honorable Speaker, allow me to pick one item and elaborate and deliberate on it that are of paramount interest for me as a leader in this country and for all of us here assembled. Right Honorable Speaker, the President did mention on that day, particularly about infrastructure. A number of roads have been paved in this country. From 2016, a total of 3,800 kilometers. Now, in 2020, stands at 3,400 kilometers. That is not a mean achievement. We applaud our President for that. But we can still do more as a country, especially seeing to it that more roads are paved in this country. Right Honorable Speaker, I want also to commend the President when for putting in place a number of water transport means. There are a number of ferries on our water bodies. I particularly want to commend the President in his visionary speech where he stated that the railway line is to be rehabilitated right from Tororo to Pakwach. Madam Speaker, this will go a long way in preparing, putting fertile ground for the high-tech industrial park expected in Pakwach. And this will in no doubt improve the cost of doing business within the region, not only northern region or West Nile region, but even with our neighboring states, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, it will in no doubt provide jobs to our young Ugandans who are faced with unemployment problems. And from their earnings, this can be plowed back to the economy, and we shall in no doubt in a stipulated time, reach the desired middle income status. Right Honorable Speaker, The railway rehabilitation to Pakwach will, as per the NDP3 and the NRM manifesto, will help to provide necessary infrastructure. Yes, that one I already mentioned. It will foster regional integration, whereby thank you. Whereby most of the bulk products can then be moved up to Pakwach and transported to DRC Congo, to Southern Sudan, and to the rest of the East Africa and Kenya. And this will make us reach faster to the East African integration most desired by this country and the neighboring countries. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to state that this, coupled with other infrastructural services such as electricity, social services such as improved health services and education, we shall in no doubt within a very short period of time reach the desired middle income status. I beg to submit.
Honorable Monjiche.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I have perused through the State of the Nation address and the response by the Leader of Opposition. Right Honorable Speaker, the difference between the two is that one has lost touch with reality and another is on the ground. Madam Speaker, the President talks about a growing economy by 3%. At a time, hotels, schools, and malls are being auctioned, and the speech is about a growing economy. You realize that there is something wrong. The President talks about corruption in the Ministry of Finance. Constitutionally, he is the Minister of Finance. But there are people in the Ministry of Finance who are corrupt, and he's only lamenting. Madam Speaker, he talks about a solution as employing children of the historicals, of the rich. We know who the historicals are. Some of them are part of the scandals of corruption. So you employ them like father, like son. They will just stop where their fathers had reached. Right Honorable Speaker, internet. I had one of the youth leaders talking about internet and thanking the President. Maybe she was ignorant that there are restrictions even on Facebook. There is unemployment as a result of interfering and restricting Facebook. Who are interfacing with the business community. They are having challenges as a result of these restrictions. So I think really that we have some leaders who actually don't know what is happening, or who are deliberately, who think that some people must remain poor as others continue to get rich. Otherwise, I want to thank you and thank the ROP for a very good speech and response.
Thank you, Honorable Mabeti. Don't worry, I have your names.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. This being my maiden moment, I also add on to the rest who have already congratulated you, and I want to thank you so much for your stewardship. Nalima Bet Etho is my name, representative of Wakiso District, and also Shadow Cabinet Minister, Local Government. And to that note, Madam Speaker, upon the President's address, allow me to draw you to page 10, where we are having the President mentioning in the second paragraph of this page, the different leaders getting to know and to clearly get the points. Madam Speaker, we note very clearly that the country is having different categories of leaders. We are having the central government leaders, we are having the cultural leaders, religious leaders, and among them we have the local government leaders. Madam Speaker, to my dismay, the President is mentioning all leaders, and particularly to local government leaders. We are all aware that these local government leaders
are really incapacitated. And as we talk today, there is no given provision for capacitating them to know and to orient them how they're going to move around all the different assignments they have. Most of us recall that apart from the district chairpersons, all local government leaders come to get to their offices just through the mere fact that they have age 18. So it's high time, as we also plan this site, to come up with that decentralization review as noted by the leader of opposition. Let's first of all always plan, and I urge government to plan. Let's increase the budgeting for local governments. Let's also urge the Ministry of Local Government the Ministry of Finance to quickly get some funding to orient the leaders such that even though they are to look at what the president has suggested, the local governments should get some capacity building programs. At this time, you realize that even some of us, we are still learning, but about them who didn't come with S6 as they entered office. So Madam Speaker, through you, I request that as we plan, as the president is talking about all leaders, to get clearer the points is stipulated, and as we also plan to come up with the reviews we see, because realize today, many offices of the district chairpersons are being overtaken by roles done by RDCs. So it's high time the country came up, pronounced itself better on what it planned as per Article 176 under the Constitution of Uganda in the decentralization process, but we made things better. But my prayer at this time, when we are talking about, when we are looking at the State of the Nation address, I beg 1 minute, Madam. Let's consider local leaders. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Namuga. I really wonder why some MPs sit very far when they are free.
Thank you,
seats
Right Honorable Speaker.
Please move nearer.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I thank you for the opportunity. Namuga Goreti, MP Maogola South County, Sembabule District. Madam Speaker, I also serve as the Shadow Minister for Science, Innovation and Technology. And as you may look at the report of the speech by the President, he overemphasized the issue of salaries of scientists, Madam Speaker, and emphasis on research. But as you may observe, the Ministry of Science, Innovation and Technology has been, the ministry itself, it looks as if it has been scrapped because less attention has been given to it. The fact that even the permanent secretary was scrapped off government, was put off the government schedule. Two, Right Honorable Speaker, you may look at the issue of agriculture. I come from a district that is that depends on agriculture excuse me. I come from Sembabule, where we solely depend on agriculture. Madam Speaker, I would like to inform you that this State of the Nation address is too theoretical than practical. When you look at counterfeit products on market, when you look at sensitization of farmers, all that has not been given attention. If you consider the bad roads, generally the real farmer has not gained from his sole effort as in regards to agriculture. I would implore the President to highly consider counterfeit products to be fought on market and to also sensitize farmers and still empower cooperatives as a way of strengthening farmers. Madam Speaker, I also use this opportunity to inform this House that Sembabule is among the districts that have no tarmac roads. I will say no, but at least in the constituency that I represent, that is Maogola South, Greater Matete, there is no single tarmac. We were promised by the President a few kilometers. Up to now, nothing has been made. We have a distance of 36 kilometers of Chaba-Kuzamatete Road and Sembabule-Mbirizi Road. This would open an avenue to access the markets of Masaka and Mbirizi. Two, as you are aware, Sembabule has no hospital. This road helps us to have patients taken to Masaka Regional Referral Hospital. Madam Speaker, I beg to submit. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Mwada. Honorable Mwada.
Betty.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. By name, Mwada Nkunyinji Muwada, Member of Parliament representing Chadondo County East. Madam Speaker, I want to associate my submission with the leader of opposition. The presidential address was deliberately empty and silent on the values of human rights and the rule of law. I happen to represent a constituency, Chadondo East, where homes of political leaders like my NUP President, Honorable Chagwany Sentamu Robert, throughout the year to date, have been turned into detention centers, illegal detention centers. The values of fundamental rights and freedoms have been curtailed throughout the year, and the presidential address was deliberately silent. Little wonder to date I don't hear an appointment of a Minister of Justice. After the electoral period, we went to court. And Madam Speaker, the country witnessed a scenario where justices of the Supreme Court were complaining that files are being confiscated on orders from above. Even the courts of judicature, which would be they would be sanctuary of justice, have been attacked with the despot and deliberate attempts by the regime to overlap the rule of law and democracy. As we speak today, Madam Speaker, many Ugandans who are kidnapped are still in detention centers, but the president was silent on them. And this kind of kidnap and detention is now being exported. I heard today Ugandan called Lumbuye was kidnapped in Turkey, and to date the government is silent. These deliberate and illegal attempts and efforts by the regime are continuous and deliberate. We want to urge this government that Uganda is governed with a constitutional order following our constitution, and courts of judicature and observance of the rule of law must be observed. We want to see independence of the judiciary. We want to see independence of criminal investigative units. But as we speak today, Madam Speaker, CID and other investigative arms are just being directed. And as rightly mentioned by the leader of opposition, they are criminalizing all voices of dissent and politicians. Madam Speaker, it is absurd, and we want to call upon this government that much as the address by the president was very silent and deliberately silent on the rule of law, we must push and pursue the values of rule of law and democracy, separation of... A minute, Madam Speaker.
Nangoli Gerald. Nangoli Gerald.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members. My name is Nangoli Gerard, Member of Parliament representing the people of Elgon North in Bulambuli District. Madam Speaker, I join others to appreciate His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, for the wonderful speech that he gave us on 4th June 2021. A few highlights that I noted, especially on the issue of Emyoga and the roads infrastructure in Uganda. But there are a number of challenges that we are facing, especially on the issue of roads. Much as we have over 5,000 Tamaka roads in Uganda, but there are some areas that are still facing a lot of challenges, especially Bulambuli and in particular Elgon North. In Bulambuli, we get 214 million shillings for road maintenance, equipment repairs, among others, including fuel. This money is really, and it's very little money to the extent that it cannot even do anything, and yet we have over 1,000 local roads. So if we are minding about the highways, about the local roads, and yet most of the agricultural things that we are talking about come from the villages, how will they reach the highways in order to access markets? Another thing that His Excellency talked about was about the issue of Emyoga. Emyoga has become a nightmare in my district. The local people formed their groups, which were very good. They were told to pay 10% of the intended money that they intend to borrow. If you are to borrow 1 million, you pay 100,000, and you put that money on the account. So many circles were formed. They contributed their money,
They put the money right on their respective accounts in DFCU Bank. Up to now, it is now 8 months down the road. These people have not accessed what? The seed capital. When they go to the district, they tell them that because of the lockdown, you are not able to do business. You have to wait until the lockdown is lifted. The lockdown was lifted. It's now 4 days. Speaker.
Honorable Bwire Sanon.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much.
Bwire Sanon.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. My name is Wire Sanon, Member of Parliament, Bulamoch County, Kaliro District. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to congratulate you upon that victory of becoming the Speaker of Parliament. Right Honorable Speaker, it was my first time to attend the presidential address and receive it as a Member of Parliament. I vividly looked at the heart and the intention of the President as that one which is clear and visionary. All the issues he talked about are geared towards helping the grassroots people. When we talk about the parish model, Right Honorable Speaker, I've been a district council speaker for my district of Kaliro for 2 terms. But most of the programs that come to local governments, they are office-based. But when you look at the design of the parish model, which is a true visionary idea of the President, you will see that our people will benefit from this model. Most of the programs and projects have been ending at the district, at sub-counties. What is remaining is for us as Parliament to support the President, as he has always said. Because, Right Honorable Speaker, the allocation of money towards this program and project is very little. 38 million is like peanuts. Actually, as Parliament, we need to support this idea of the President and the government that we should put more money in the parish model. At least 100 million can do something. Secondly, Right Honorable Speaker, the President emphasized the commercialized agriculture, targeting household incomes. When we put more money into agriculture and help our people to shift from subsistence farming to commercialized agriculture, I want to assure you, Right Honorable Speaker, this country will move at a very high speed and attain the middle-income state, middle-income country. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to second the motion and congratulate Ugandans upon electing this wise President who is really caring for his country. Lastly, Right Honorable Speaker, I am
Tony. Tony.
Right Honorable Speaker, thank you for giving me this opportunity. Right Honorable Speaker, I rise to support the State of the Nation's address, and I want to particularly thank the President for giving a focus to agriculture, and most especially value addition and the establishment of agro-processing center in a number of districts, including Nwaya, a county where I represent. Right Honorable Speaker, as Northern Uganda recovers from a conflict situation, we realize that Nwaya particularly and others are a food basket for this country. The establishment of the agricultural and agro-processing centers that the President highlighted in the State of the Nation's address, Right Honorable Speaker, is a very good step in the right direction. It's one sure way of boosting agricultural productivity for our district and for the region. We are also very excited with the presidential promise for putting up irrigation facilities in the districts, and we think this will help solve the big problems that we have been suffering in the hands of natural vagaries. Right, Honorable Speaker, you realize that the uncertainties in the weather has hit the northern farmers hard. So the pledge by the president to come up with some framework for establishing irrigation facilities for a few selected districts, including Noya district, a district that I represent here in Parliament, is a very, very good step in the right direction. We hope that would help us bridge the gap that has been left by the vagaries of nature and the unpredictable weather. We thank the president in general terms for charting out a very good way forward for administering this country in the next 5 years. Right, Honorable Speaker, the president has demonstrated his consistency in offering visionary leadership, and we thank him abundantly, and we implore God's blessings for a continued help.
Honorable Kabusu. Kabusu.
Madam Speaker, my name is Kabusu Moses. I represent the people of Chamuswa in Karangala, Sese Islands. Madam Speaker, members have thanked the President for the State of Nations address. So are other members who have hailed the leader of opposition for the exact response that warrants. Madam Speaker, when I listened to the President on the 4th June, I wanted him to speak about the state of the fisheries sector, the industry, that he always says employs thousands and thousands of people that would not be employed in offices. Madam Speaker, this country has not prioritized activities on the lake that would employ more people on the lake. Madam Speaker, Karangala, where I hail from, it's a cosmopolitan region where every tribe and a race is found there. There are a lot of efforts that government is doing, I hear, to help the lake, to reduce the pressure and the forces on the lake, where our people are tortured, beaten by the UPDF. Of late, they have revised the method of handling them, which we are grateful about. But Madam Speaker, there's nothing government has done to appraise these people and lift them up. These people are not given, we do not see them considered as government does to the agriculture, animal industry, the sectors that are related to agriculture. We want that the president, maybe the next State of Nations address, he must have a sector where government must address how to stimulate fisheries and the fisheries sector to develop. They say the fish is the gold because there are fish mouths in the Nile Page that sell or fetch a lot of money on the international market. But the people in the lake are the poorest. They're not attended to. They do not have water. The health systems are poor. They themselves have hardship to access schools and transport. Where now this time, maybe next time, when the president prepares to speak, must have a component about the people who live in the waters, who work, who catch the fish, who sell fish mouths where government fetches a lot of money and they are not rewarded. Madam Speaker,
Honorable Kayondo Fred.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. And this being my first time standing here, allow me congratulate you for having gone through the blast furnace of the Deputy Speakership race. And I also want to thank you, Madam Speaker, that much as the winds are tough, you are still steering the boat in the right direction. I would also feel right to appreciate the president, but I find my hands tied because it is the same speech the president has been rotating. It's only the literature which is changing from prosperity to all, to Bonabagagawale, to Miyoga, Parish model, Hakuna Mchezo, etc. So I really find it hard to appreciate the president because it is the same speech he has been delivering. Madam Speaker, I was happy when the president said that they are expecting a lot from the fish mills. I was the happiest. But you know what happened? It's as if he ordered the UPDF to torture, kill, and displace the fishermen. Guys, members here, let me tell you, it is hell on the islands of Lake Victoria. People are dying every day. People are being tortured by the UPDF. People are being displaced by the UPDF. And those people are laughing at us here. If we are moving a motion to thank the president who is feeling heartless about them. And you know what is making these people to be killed? Because they are using illegal fishing gears. But these people don't import these illegal hooks. These hooks are brought into the country. They are taxed.
Honorable Kiwanuka Abdallah, then Enos.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Kiwanuka Abdallah, Mkono North County. Madam Speaker, the speech of the president majorly lacked the issues to do with the way security is handling Ugandans. Throughout the years back, UPDF, police, security agencies have consistently been torturing, abducting, detaining without trial Ugandans, and the situation worsened in the last elections, wherein the president himself, as the commander-in-chief of all the armed forces, came out loudly and he said that he got those commandos from Somalia to come and instill some discipline within Ugandans. Up to now, many Ugandans are missing. Their whereabouts are unknown. The people on the lake are complaining. The people within Kampala are complaining. In the eastern, they are complaining. These abductions went on and on up to now. They are still abducting. Actually, Madam Speaker, this issue was even raised here. Much as it missed in the president's speech, it was raised here. Up to now, we are still waiting for the ministerial statement regarding the continuous abductions in this country. This has tainted the good image of this country as far as the rule of law and good governance is concerned. I rest my case at that point.
Honorable Enos.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I stand to support the President's, Madam Nakut's motion. The President's speech was very elaborate, and I wouldn't want to draw myself to it. But I want to call your attention to what the President said. He talked about what government has achieved, how it's going to achieve it, but he raised one obstacle, which all my other colleagues mentioned, related to corruption. In his words, he said, to achieve the objectives of the government, we must defeat corruption. We must defeat corruption, which has become a real enemy. He clearly states that it starts with finance, where the projects are designed with extras. These bloated projects go to ministries, they go to committees of parliament, and then to the Auditor General, where there's corruption all the way. This clearly tells us that there is a challenge in achieving the objectives this government intends to achieve in the coming years. I want to take this opportunity to request the Speaker to call forth Rule 190, withdraw a committee that can investigate this enemy the President was talking about. We find out who is this person at finance, passing on bloated projects to the ministries, and from ministries to committees of parliament, and finally, of course, to the last person. Madam Speaker, I don't know whether that's within your powers. I request that we will call forth 190, Rule 190, and we form a committee to investigate this. Possibly, it will help us in removing the obstacles, in achieving the objectives of the NRM government in the coming years. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Uda.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to join the colleagues to thank the President for the State of the Nation address. I also want to thank the Leader of Opposition for the alternative State of Nation address. Madam Speaker, I just want to say, for more than 35 years, we as Ugandans had never bothered to think that there were people who had sacrificed to bring this country that had gone to dogs. The people we are calling veterans. If now, lastly, the President has remembered them and said that the few of their children should be employed, I think that is great. If those people had not sacrificed, Madam Speaker, I don't think we would sit here today that we are liberating for this country. Therefore, we also need to say thank you where it belongs. Madam Speaker, I want us to join the President towards in supporting the pathogenic economy. Madam Speaker, with these rampant epidemics that are evolving day and night, many countries, many scientists are making money. They are generating profits from that economy. Could we as a country support the President in supporting our scientists, because that's where the money is now? Madam Speaker, the countries, the scientists who are making the vaccines, when it comes to the issue of who is first, they normally look for their people. I remember as a country, we had the money. One of the countries where we had even requested, but just because the second wave hit the country harder, our money became useless. What if we had made our own vaccines here? Would we suffer? I don't think even the second wave would hit us as it has done if we had our own vaccines. Therefore, can we look at that direction other than every time waiting for others to do it for us? We are also human beings. We can do it for ourselves. Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity.
Honorable Businja Joab.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Madam Speaker.
Members, I will pick all of you. If we don't finish the debate today, it will continue to tomorrow.
Colleagues, honorable members of parliament, I'm Businge Joab from Masini Municipality. I've remained wondering when I heard of this motion to accord special thanks to the President for performing his constitutional mandate, delivering the State of National Address. Secondly, I also think it is not deserved because no one can be in office but do nothing over time. When you look at the time President Museveni has stayed in office, over 35 years, and is talking about moving this country to the middle income. Yet we have had governments like that which was headed by late President Magufuli. In only 5 years, Tanzania joined the middle income status. I remain wondering, when you talk about socioeconomic transformation, and yet many of our people where we are coming from, the problem is the marketing of their products. Just yesterday and even today as I talk, the sugar factory is becoming an evil. Masindi is a sugar growing area. But if you look at how the right group of companies are treating farmers, the time it is taking to harvest their cane, the price they are giving, you find a farmer spending with over 3 years with cane in the field, and you are talking about economic transformation. Finally, I'm also concerned by this idea of employing children of the historic. I'm summarizing, Madam Speaker.
Isaac.
So this idea of
Katenya Isaac.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Speaker. I want also to join my friends to appreciate the President on his State of the Nation address on the 4th. In particular, I want to draw attention on the issue of floods and landslides, especially in the Elgon zone. I appreciate the effort of the President, especially on the settlement of the people of Ududa in my constituency. But Madam Speaker, if the government cannot come up with a special program for this in particular, especially on the issue of landslides, whereby we get special attention or special fund to establish infrastructure for revamping the area, mitigation and recovery of areas which have been destroyed by landslides and floods. Because as I talk, there are very many schools which have been affected by cracks in the mountains. Roads have been destroyed. Hospitals have been destroyed. Sub-county headquarters have been destroyed. And therefore, if the government can do something on that one, I think we shall be very grateful. On the issue of commercial agriculture, Madam Speaker, if we are to succeed, our government is to succeed, then it should be in a position to provide subsidies to farmers. Like, for example, tractors. In most parts of the country, the tractors are very, very expensive and they are not there. Bulambuli in particular is a farming place. And most of the people are using rudimentary methods of farming. And therefore, going into the commercial farming will become difficult.
Namukuta Brenda. Nakazibwe Hope. And Milton Muma.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. My name is Namukta Brenda, the woman member of Parliament, Kaliro District. This being my maiden speech, I would like to congratulate the Right Honorable Speaker to that achievement and my fellow honorable colleagues. I'm here to second Honorable Nakuti's speech on the State of the Nation address, where the President hit on things that are pertinent to the nation when he hint on increasing levels of water bodies and the resultant flooding. I'll give a case of my own district, Kaliro District, where I have the Saka Bridge that connects to Palisa district, and I have Rumbuye within my district. Then I have the Dongi Swamp that connects Kaliro to Buyende district, which means the State of the Nation address was not a mere rhetoric, as it has been said here before, but a precursor to practical solutions. What remains is to monitor and the implementation to ensure value for public funds. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. I beg to submit.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Hope Brani Anakaziwe, Daumat MP Muwende District. Let me also take this opportunity to congratulate Right Honorable Speaker for attaining that seat of power and my honorable colleagues. I rise to support the motion that was moved by Honorable Faith Nakut about the State of the Nation's address given by the President of the Republic of Uganda. When His Excellency the President gave this speech, he did not spare the fact that he recommended a good pay to scientists. I represent the people of Mubende but come from a science background, so I can't move without applauding His Excellency the President for mentioning that giving scientists a good pay is not doing them a favor. We appreciate that. On the other note, I'd like to thank His Excellency the President for looking into agriculture and industry. These are amongst the 4 sectors that we are going to put emphasis on as a country in the next financial year. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I think it was the continuation of the previous honorable member. I want to appreciate His Excellency the President for combining agriculture and industry, because we realize that we Ugandans, especially the people of Mubende, are agriculturalists. We have been producing a lot of products, but the market has been limited. This is attributed to a number of factors. A few of them are the quality of seeds, the timing of the planting, and maybe the roads. I want to implore the responsible authorities and ministries to make sure that whenever we are to deliver seedlings and seeds to our communities, let this be timely. Our people have always prepared their gardens, but sometimes we have some organizations and agencies that are supposed to be delivering these seedlings and seeds, but at times they come a little early. Let us do not frustrate the efforts of our president. Thank you so much.
Honorable Moma, members, so far 32 members have spoken.
Thank you.
We'll have the balance. We have a list of all those who have been standing. We'll start the debate where we have stopped from tomorrow.
Thank
so
you.
Don't worry, I have said everybody will speak.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to support the motion and thank the President for his being accountable to the people of Uganda by regularly giving the status and the state of affairs of the nation. Right Honorable Speaker, I have 4 key issues of interest on my side. One of them is to do with the environmental conservation, stroke, reclamation of wetlands that the President has been alluding to. Right Honorable Speaker, it's the way to go. Well aware that climate change is a true phenomenon that we cannot avoid, we cannot ignore. We need to address the issue of wetland reclamation in an organized way. Right Honorable Speaker, I always feel ashamed and feel shy when I see my own president commissioning factories and industries that are constructed in wetlands. Now we are coming up to say we want to evict small fish, small people who are cultivating rice, Mayunis in those swamps, at the expense, at the peril of these key foreign investors who are depleting and distorting our climate. Right, Honorable Speaker, I will pray and wish that we handle these things squarely without treating others in a unique manner or special way, special consideration. The other issue is to do with the operationalization of a special program for the Soga sub-region. Early this afternoon, my colleagues from northern Uganda were questioning government what plans are in place to replace NUSAF 3 that has ended. As they are questioning this, my heart was also pumping as we reconsider having another program for the reconstruction of northern Uganda. Can we operationalize the promised program for Busoga as a sub-region? Because statistics that are recently released were quoting Busoga and Bukedi being the poorest in the country. That alone is a clear justification for us to have a special program that will enhance and put these people on board. Right, Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the President for the efforts put in fighting COVID-19. He's been Thank you very much. Right, Honorable Speaker, the issue of COVID, I think, requires serious recognition and salutations of the President, because 24/7, the President has committed his life, his time in ensuring that Ugandans remain free of COVID-19. This is serious salutation to him. But one concern about financial institutions that are harassing people. People obtain the loans from commercial banks. When the President keeps addressing the country, he has not come out authoritatively and clearly to tell banks, please pause on demanding interest, pause on attaching people's property, because people are developing hypertension, they are becoming sick, their property is being taken, but at least we have not come out squarely on this. Whereas the credit on fighting COVID is there, but here the local person hasn't been helped. So I have to appeal to my good government and my dear President to come out squarely and save Ugandans the pressures of these loans. We don't want to get rid of COVID when people have died of hypertension. Right, Mr. Speaker, I thank you so much and appreciate this time accorded to me.
Thank you so much, honorable members, for the endurance. And we shouldn't be ending the house late since we start early. So tomorrow we are going to start with the people who have been standing, with the MPs who have been standing. We will continue with the same debate. Tomorrow we'll only have two debates. One on the COVID report, and then finalizing the State of Nation address. I want to thank you so much.
Madam Speaker.
And we will continue with what we are doing. We are therefore adjourn the House to 2 tomorrow.